Hello guys, it's me, Reysious, and it's finally time for a new Olympian Knights devlog. For those who don't know, Olympian Knights is pretty much just a 3D multiplayer fighting game where you play as Greek gods or goddesses. So before we dive into the devlog, I just want to say that the store page for Olympian Knights is now public, so if you guys just go to the store page and press the wishlist button, it could eventually help the game a lot later on when it releases, and I would greatly appreciate it. Anyways, with that being said, let's dive into the devlog. So one of the first things I started trying to improve was the parry system. Since the parry system I had in the last devlog was kind of asking for cheesy gameplay, since you could just hold block, and once you got attacked, just press the attack button at the right time, with almost no risk. And also the animation didn't really look that great. So in the comments of my last devlog, this guy gave me the idea to make it so that you could only parry from a non-blocking state to kind of balance it. And at first I thought that would be a really good idea, and it probably is a really good idea. However, it really doesn't fit my current combat animation system at all. So I later got the idea to make it a two-step system, where you first have to trigger a deflect animation, basically pushing your enemy blade aside, and then just following up with an attack, which is then a lot faster than a normal attack. And while this at least looked a lot better than the previous system, it still probably isn't the best balancing solution. Although it's actually quite a bit harder to time it correctly, so it might even be okay. At this point I actually got a new idea, which I haven't really tried yet, since it would require a complete rework of the combat system plus animations. But the idea is basically that you can no longer block all attacks by just holding block, but instead that you have to attack each attack individually. And if you successfully deflect an attack, you can follow up with your own attack, which then pretty much like the current parry system. Most people I've talked with found this a really good idea, although we can't be sure before I've tried it. But feel free to leave your opinion in the comments, or let me know if you even have another idea. Anyways, the next thing I did was making the whole project server authoritative and adding client-side prediction, which was a huge pain in the ass and took me quite a while to get working. I'll give you a short explanation of client-side prediction. So in order to avoid movement cheats, you give the server authority over as much as possible. However, if the server is executing the movement instead of your client, you will notice a short delay between you pressing a button and your character moving on the screen. And this is noticeable, even with really low ping. And client-side prediction is basically a way to hide this latency. And the way it does this, it basically simulates your movement directly on your client, and then compares its own results with the results from the server. Now, if the results mismatch, your client needs to snap your position back to the position that the server says is your correct position. And what makes this a bit tricky is that the server is kind of behind in time. I also moved the server project into the client project, so I don't have to sync shit between two projects all the time, and made it so that the game is running as a Windows console application when the game is running as a server. I also improved the in-game health bar UI and made it actually work correctly, and I added a text chat, which makes testing with other people a lot easier, and I also added a few text chat commands like teleport, hero swap, kill, and ragdoll, which also makes debugging and testing a lot easier. Then I started implementing Steamworks and added a server browser, and even added a cool feature that server admins can set a profile picture for their server. I also started working on a lobby system, but keep in mind the UI here is just for prototyping. The end result will look a lot better, I hope. Now when it comes to visual effects, I improved the lightning effects for Zeus's lightning ability, currently the only ability in the game really. I also made a dynamic UI system for the abilities, and I'm pretty happy with how I did the whole ability stuff, since when I want to add a new ability I just have to write the ability code inside a scriptable object, add it to the character's ability list, and the UI system just gets all it needs from there. I mean, I probably made it a lot more complex than it really has to be, but it's definitely a huge improvement in comparison to how I did things in previous projects. Now let's get to the melee combat system once more. It's currently pretty much a pain to work with, even though I already improved it, but I kinda just want to scrap it and find a better way of doing it. Just look at this shit, man. Okay, I think that was pretty much everything that was worth talking about. There's a lot more stuff I did under the hood, but we don't want to make this devlog too long and boring, so that's pretty much it with this devlog of Olympian Knights. I can mention though, I kinda started looking into Unreal Engine 5, since stuff like Nanite and Lumen is really a dream come true, but I'll stick with Unity for now, at least with this game, since it will most likely take me some time to get used to Unreal Engine. And also I think Unity is most likely going to improve too, like it's one of the most used engines in the world, so I hope they'll just be stuck in the past like that. But that's a whole discussion for itself. Okay, thank you all for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!